This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Wanaka councillors take a look at progress on a new lakefront path and board. School children from the Gore area line the main street in a busking competition. And another pair of kaka are introduced to the Invercargill aviary. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. A large lakefront development has received a seal of approval after local politicians were given a tour of the site. The new build is set to link downtown Wanaka with its marina.
Wanaka ward councillors and community board staff got a tour of the council's redevelopment of the lakefront. The project will link downtown Wanaka with the nearby marina, so both locals and out-of-town visitors can enjoy the scenery. Wanaka ward councillor Quentin Smith says the project is going well.
I think it's looking great. I think the community, once this is completed, will get a real sense of a great project being delivered, and I think it'll be really hard to imagine what it used to look like once it's finished.
The development features a lakeside boardwalk plus a shared pathway higher up on the shore, which project manager Daniel Williams says will make the area much more accessible for both walkers and cyclists.
It upgrades a footpath that was originally 1 metre wide to, I think in its narrowest form now is 2.5, and it goes up to 4.2 metres wide in places. So it really is like an expressway it's really purpose built for having cyclists and pedestrians, really come together in this one space. He
says one of the biggest headaches for the development has been the fluctuating level of Lake Wanaka.
This one has been particularly challenging because it revolves around lake levels, and of course, so if we have heavy rains, the lake level comes up, and it has an impact on that way. So the working environment here, where lake levels come up, and it basically prevents you from working on certain aspects of the project, not all, but yeah, certainly on the boardwalk, it certainly has its challenges, yes.
Williams says the project is designed to be environmentally conscious, with noisy piling timed to avoid the breeding season of native grebes that nest along the lake, and making sure that sawdust from building the boardwalk is taken away rather than just let fall into the lake.
It's one of the most prestigious locations that I've worked quite a lot on, in central city Christchurch, around the Avon and things, and I'm well aware of just how damaging construction can be to certain areas. So it was really at the forefront of our thinking was, how we can prevent this construction really affecting the environment.
Williams says so far the project is on target for being finished by the end of August. The South Today.
4 people have died and 3 others are injured after a minivan and truck collided at a rural intersection east of Ashburton this morning. Mid-South Canterbury police say a minivan with 6 people was travelling on Cochrane's Road and appears to have driven through a controlled intersection with Wakanui Road, colliding with a heavy truck. 3 people died at the scene and a 4th later in Ashburton Hospital. All were occupants of the van. 2 other occupants of the van were also injured. One is in a critical condition in hospital and one in a serious condition. The truck driver, believed to be a local, was also hurt and is in Ashburton Hospital. School groups sung their hearts out on Gore's main street yesterday as part of a street busking competition. The live music event is a lead up to the Tussock Country Music Festival, set for later this month.
Performing their own version of John Denver's Country Roads is Mataura East School, just one of half a dozen schools busking on Gore's main street yesterday. Other schools included Longford Intermediate, East Gore, West Gore, Tapanui, St Mary's Primary and Gore Main School.
This is my second time doing this, and it's a pretty awesome event. Schools all the way up and down the main street here. Our school's doing a mixture of some contemporary songs with a little bit of Waiata in there, and it's just awesome being out in the community, so pretty cool day.
Longford School was declared the winner of the schools category, with other categories in the Tussock Country busking competition set to conclude tomorrow. In Gore, the South today.
Dunedin's iconic 24-hour book sale at the Regent Theatre has become a closed book. Rather than having people being able to browse aisles of books during the wee hours of the night, the event has just been transformed into a 2-day event. It's set to be held at the Moore FM Arena in the Edgar Centre during daylight hours in early December. Organisers say the fundraising sale has grown to such a level that the Edgar Centre, with easier access and better parking, will be a better venue for the event. It will be the first time in 40 years that the annual sale has not been held in the Regent Theatre. An extra pair of kaka have been introduced to Invercargill's Queen's Park aviary, bringing the total number in captivity to 6. It's hoped the new arrivals will encourage breeding between the birds, with some of the offspring to be released into the wild.
The cacophonous call of kaka increased by 2 at Queen's Park aviary this week when a new breeding pair was introduced. 6 of the native birds now call the Invercargill Park home, with the 2 newcomers introduced to encourage a mix of genetics, minimise inbreeding and contribute to the national breeding programme. The pair came from Nelson's Natureland, where they were bred. Invercargill City Council Parks Performance Officer Bevan Cameron says the male bird from Nelson interacts with his keepers, but not with the female kaka.
So they were brought here to hopefully actually get both pairs to or create competition between the pairs and hopefully get them to bond and form productive breeding pairs.
It was hoped by holding 2 pairs as a flock it would create competition, enable courting behaviour and successful breeding.
They're a forest bird that is incredibly beautiful. They've got a beautiful song.
The pair were introduced to their new flight on Wednesday evening and seem to be getting on well with their flight mates after being introduced on Thursday. From Invercargill, the South today.
Still to come on the South today, we catch up on a historic event which wraps up this year and check out the Highlanders lineup for this weekend's home game. So catch this and more after the break.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. After 40 years, the Brass Monkey Rally seems set to go out with a roar. The annual pilgrimage of riders to the Ida Valley will be consigned to history this weekend as the final rally on the Maniatoto. Organisers believe more than 3,000 riders could turn out for the event. Red tape, dwindling numbers and an ageing committee are all factors in the decision to axe the event. The Otago Motorcycle Club plans to replace the event with something featuring less extreme temperatures, but is not ready to announce details yet. The Highlanders started the current season with only 2 All Blacks. Tomorrow they will have none. Head coach Clark Dumuri says the home team has been studying this week's visitors and knows they'll have to get the basics right.
A couple of key players are going to be absent for Saturday's Highlanders home game. All Black Aaron Smith is being rested, while loose forward Shannon Frizzell was injured at the end of last week's match and may be out for a while.
I think it's about a month, maybe. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but yeah, he just tweaked it when he went up for that last kick-off against the Rebels.
Highlanders co-captain Aaron Smith has dropped out of the entire squad and is under load management by the All Black selectors. Head coach Clark Dermody says they've been studying their competition.
So, yeah, you've been watching the Waratahs, eh? Yeah, they only kicked the ball twice against the Crusaders in the second half, so they're a young team that throws the ball around, and they finished really fast, so we're expecting a fast game.
He says Aaron Smith's absence will be felt, but it's a bonus for Kane Hamilton, who's set to play his 50th Super Rugby game for the Southern franchise. Highlanders hooker and co-captain for this match, Ash Dixon, thinks the Waratahs will be fired up.
How good is it in your eyes to come over here, possibly their last trip, and get another Kiwi team scalp, you know, like the only second one to do it. So for them, they've got heaps of motivation left in them, and so do we, you know, we've got a lot to play for. So we're going to make sure our game's on and really work hard to make sure we can execute.
Dixon replaces Liam Coltman, while Bryn Evans is back at lock, with Josh Dixon pushed to the bench. James Lynchies replaces Shannon Frizzell, and Clark Dermody says Lynchies will be a useful line-out jumper. Ash Dixon reckons the game will be one to watch up close and personal.
Yeah, I think when you're playing a side that's young, that's got nothing to lose, that are coming over, get to play with a dry nut, you know, like you're gonna see a fair bit of offloading, I reckon, and a fair bit of ball movement, and be pretty good for them. They'll want to chuck it in and get the game going, I guess, like us. So two sides will be pretty willing to throw their hand, I think. Will be pretty awesome and entertaining game for the public.
Other line-up changes include Daniel Leonard-Brown returning to the bench after he broke an arm in early March. And he played well for University in the club rugby comp last week. Kick-off at Forsyth Bar is a shade after 7 p.m. on Saturday. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we take a look at this week's edition of Rugby Chat with Paul Dwyer, and we check out the weekend's weather for you. So see you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, warm ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
Thanks for staying with us. In this edition of Rugby Chat, rugby aficionado Paul Dwyer talks with Greg O'Brien about the Dunedin Rugby Club's plans to celebrate its 150-year anniversary.
Welcome to ODT Rugby Chat for another week, brought to you by Garrett Orr, my old mate Gerald Orr across there in Kaikoura Valley. Get across there and buy a door off him. It's all about the Dunedin 150th this weekend, the oldest club in New Zealand. A couple of clubs are claiming they're older than Dunedin in terms of Nelson and Wellington, but I can tell you, in fact, that's a lie. Dunedin is the oldest continuous rugby club in the country. And I've got a couple of heavies from Dunedin to have a talk about that today. I've got Mark Reeve Dunn. Apparently he's going to play his 150th game on their 150th weekend, but I hear there's a lot of issues over that. And I've also got Greg O'Brien, the current club president. I did compare him. He looked like saw a photograph from last night. He looked like Herman Goering, but we're actually not going to run that photograph over the next couple of days. Greg, will bring you in. Look, is the excitement starting to build? I know you've got, I've tried to work out some numbers. We've got 350 coming for the weekend. We've got 235 players plus juniors. We're going to have 700 club people there on Saturday. How the hell are you going to fit them all in?
Yeah, this is possibly the biggest event we've ever organised at Kettle Park. I reckon there could easily be close to 1,000 people that go through our Kettle Park on Saturday. If you add up all the junior teams, both opposition and ours, their supporters, our own 7 teams, plus their opposition and supporters, and then the 350, 400 people who've already registered for the event, the numbers get pretty big pretty quickly.
And just remember, at Dunedin Rugby Club's big weekend, Channel 39 and ODT TV, we are streaming that Prem game live at, I think it starts at 10 to 3, so that'll be live on the ODT website. And I think we're also doing that Prem Colts game. We'll do some interviews from some of those past players that are coming down. There's a few heavies coming down. A few All Blacks. Andrew Hoare will be there. Ginge Henderson will be there. We've got Colin Mainsbridge, current chair of the Crusaders. He'll be there. We might grab a chat with all those 3 guys. plus we'll grab some other interviews. But just go to the ODT website. I think we're live on air from 1 o'clock right through till 4:30, which is far too long. I'll be talking far too long, but we'll get through it. So go and have a look at that, and we'll be back with you again next week.
And you can watch the full interview online at odt.co.nz. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Wanaka councillors took a look at progress on a new lakefront path and board. School children from the Gore area lined the main street in a busking competition. And another pair of kaka were introduced to the Invercargill Aviary. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome the editor, Barry. How are you doing? What have you got for us?
Thank you, Melissa. What a lovely day it's been. Wow, we've got a feast of good stories for you tomorrow. University of Otago may contribute as much as $20 million to a $51 million interprofessional learning centre.
That's quite a bit of money.
Planned as part of the new Dunedin hospital. So some more details on what's going together at the hospital there. And of course we had that horrific crash in Ashburton this morning. 4 dead, 1 critical, so we have more reports on that. A gastro outbreak in Invercargill is causing concern, and particularly at the Invercargill Hospital, or the Southland Hospital. Some of the staff have gone down with that particular bug, so that's causing some issues. On a brighter light, we have the lights are back on in Queenstown with the Luma Festival. So that, I don't think it was held last year because of COVID, but it's back in full force this weekend, and we've got some stunning pictures to show you from that event tomorrow. And what's happening with the Sports Hall of Fame, you may ask? Well,
what is happening?
Developments, thanks for asking. Some developments on that, and you can read about that in the paper tomorrow. So some encouraging news there, I will say, for the Sports Hall of Fame, which is obviously under some pressure to remain in the city. So some good news there potentially. And of course the big weekend event is the Brass Monkey rally, the last of them. So this is the final one. Bruce Monroe, our feature writer, talks to those for 4 decades who have made it the biggest motorcycle pilgrimage in New Zealand. So he talks to some people who have been at the event over many years and gets their recollections of that.
I know, I still don't know what the attraction is about being out in that extreme cold weather on a motorbike.
True, yeah.
But I'm sure.
Good point.
Yeah. I'm
so
sure we'll
find out.
Yeah, we'll find out about
exactly.
that tomorrow in tomorrow's ODT.
Okay.
And now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a double rainbow across Dunedin. Looking at the situation, widespread rain developing tomorrow as a trough of low pressure moves past Fiordland, but clearing weather is expected on Sunday as westerly airflow develops again. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, it's a rainy and windy day tomorrow with 15 degrees in Greymouth and Westport. Winds will tend to be gusty at times also. Moving to the northeast, rain and showers in this region also with moderate winds. 14 degrees in Nelson and 16 degrees in Blenheim. Moving down to Canterbury, it's cloud and wind for all in this region. 15 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch. Ashburton is slightly higher with 16 degrees. Heading to the southern towns, expect a southwesterly change with rain easing later on in the day. Looking at a high of 11 degrees for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To the Central Lakes area. Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra have decreasing northwesterlies with rain later on and 11 degrees. Te Anau sees southwesterlies decreasing throughout the day and rain easing with a slightly lower 10 degrees. To the northern towns, it gets a bit fresh along the coast with fresh northerlies and high cloud. Looking at 14 degrees for Timaru and Oamaru, 13 degrees. Waizawa and Amarama can expect a bit of rain later on with decreasing northwesterlies and 12 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northerly winds and a low of 8 degrees. Thick high cloud tomorrow with fresh northerlies for most of the day, followed by a period of rain developing late afternoon or evening with a change to gusty, colder southwesterlies. Rain will clear again tomorrow night, looking at a high of 13 and a low of 9. And it's mostly cloudy and cold on Sunday with southwesterlies dying out, a high of 11 and a low of 3 degrees. And in Invercargill, rain developing tonight with fresh northerly winds and a low of 8. Rain easing to showers during the morning tomorrow with cooler southwesterlies developing for a time, then dying out. Showers clearing later in the day, a high of 12 and a low of 7. Cloud increasing and rain developing again on Sunday with westerlies freshening, looking at a high of 13 and a low of 7. And that's all for this South today. And have a wonderful Queen's Birthday weekend. Don't forget to check out, we've got the council on tomorrow at 11:30 on Saturday. And we won't be back until Tuesday, so see you then. Goodbye.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.